Ah, what is today? Tuesday? It's Tuesday. It's the day that the garbage man comes by. Picks up stuff. Picks up stuff. I sat on this bench some years ago. My parents would come and visit. And I'm sitting on this bench with my dad, who also liked to talk. I'd have to watch the wives when he was talking to the husbands and kind of gauge it. And sometimes tell them that, you know, wife wants to go, you're going to have to stop talking about antique tractors now. But I was sitting on this bench having a conversation with him and said, Dad, I was able to do calculus. He was actually my calculus professor. Said, I knew how to do calculus, but I didn't understand how it worked. It's two different things. If you went through calc and diff-EQ, you understand that it's a mechanical process. Take this, and you look at this, and you mix it in, you convert it, and stuff like this. Truly mechanical. You don't need to understand how it works in order to do it. I said, how did it work? And that was the only time I had like what could be called a spiritual talk with my father. Because he was all matter of fact. He grew up on a farm, and he didn't major in gender studies or these other hefty things. It was all engineering and physics and mathematics, realistic stuff. He said, you know what? I believe in a higher power because of calculus. I never got an answer, kind of like me going off on tangents. I came about it honestly. But he said when you're looking at the equations for, say, the changes in velocity or what have you, it just makes sense. Numbers make sense. And there can only be order in the universe if there was a higher power. Now, I shared a bit of the mathematics with him, but I look at it a different way. Our relationship, maybe to numbers in some regard, but I look at it more like our relationship to the natural world around us. I did not grow up in a concrete jungle. I sprung from farm folk, that had their hands in the earth. And, raised animals, hunted, knew how to garden, knew how to, in his case, plow a field with a horse. Knew how cars worked before they were hermetically sealed. Used to build radios and stuff. It's like doing stuff. I'm going to jump now to shovels. And I think philosophically, I do. I know it's hard to believe, but I look at tools nowadays as a reflection in our society. There was a time when tools, everything that surrounded people, whether or not it was a record player, records, or shovels, or anything, not only had a useful component, but they were built to last and they had style. Unlike today, and you can carry this into modern society. This is what you're going to pick up at the dollar store. This was a waste of energy and materials. This is, I don't know what it is. This is an artistic rendering of a shovel. And you can see, this thing should not have been created. It was just a waste all around. It was a waste for the manufacturer. It was a waste for the miners. It was a waste for the loggers that cut this tree. This thing is just, it's garbage. It should not have been created. It was a waste of the money of the person that bought it. Piece of crap. Now you can step up. This, I would have to say, for an amateur level shovel is not bad, but I'm looking at it. They did a good job on the weld there. This is not one piece, but they did a clean job on the weld, so I'm confident that that weld will hold. The only thing that I don't care about is that this thing, it's not a full tang, it ends right here, and so you probably can't see it. It's not as stiff as it could be. However, it is pretty reasonable. This, I can say, was worth making. It was worth buying for the casual gardener. It's not bad. I did have to, using a chainsaw file, put serrations on here because if you were a gardener, you know, you pull a root-bound plant out of a pot, you have to slice it to allow those roots to expand. It's also when you're digging through the soil, touching the great unknown, as it were, slicing through roots. And so I created a decent shovel here. And it's one piece of steel. Now this is in contrast to that hoary, that garden knife that was lost by an employee and inspired me to research garden shovels. This, I believe, was made by not Miracle-Gro. It was sold as a Miracle-Gro. But this thing has lasted 12 to 14 years, I forget how long. Heavy duty use, and I would consider this professional use because my employees would use this. We have gardens here, so this got a lot of use. You can see that it is still intact. This has wrestled rocks out of the ground. It has dug burdock roots out of the ground. This has seen some good use and it hasn't broken. You could buy this for maybe $14. They still make them. Probably full tang. If not, it goes pretty far in and the handle is stiff. This thing has not broken. Now you look at that. The chrome plating has worn off. And so it's probably pot metal. I could actually tell it's pot metal, just cheap, crappy metal. Because when I was filing to sharpen this, helps, it filed too easily. It's soft. But I can't besmirch this because it has lasted so many years. It's not a bad tool. It doesn't have style though. I'm thinking of the old days. You have to have style along with rugged reliability. Although if you only had 14, 15 bucks burning a hole in your pocket and you need to get a good shovel so you can dig in the Mother Earth, not a bad choice. Miracle-Gro. Now I've read reviews. I read the reviews. And of course, they're mixed. A lot of 5 stars and then the 1 star. I broke it. Well, Rasputin, you can break anything. You know, if you stick it between 2 rocks and kick it, it's going to break. You have to have some technique with these things. But I would have to say, in all, it's a pretty nice unit. Now I stepped up because this one was lost, but now it is found. I purchased, and I like this, ML Tools. Now I don't think that they were thinking too clearly because ML Tools is right side up there and it's upside down here. They could have, hey, why don't we do this so it's matching this? But, you know, that's neither here nor there. I like this because it has a sheath. It's going to be a lot harder to lose this one than this one because this just kind of floats around unless you stick it in your back pocket. The sheath helps. It is not plated. This is nice steel on this, and it's relatively thick. It's thicker, I can tell right here. It was stamped, probably forged. It wasn't cast. Thicker than the Miracle-Gro one. I'm not going to pick that up again. And I can feel that it is full tang, or almost all, because it does not flex. It is strong. This is my wife Deborah's. I'm going to probably buy my own, doing research, probably a mountain tree, because they say it's thicker steel. A man shovel. Actually, this is a garden knife. Now, as far as the quality of this thing, if you're going to pick one up on eBay or whatever, I don't think you're going to go wrong with an ML Tools garden knife. Hory. I like it. This is a nice unit. And we've been using this hard, even in the parking lot where plants are growing. I'm digging into, like, I believe it's Afton stone or whatever. It's road gravel. Stabbing, going all Norman Bates style. And I have to say, it's barely even scratching it up. You know, that's another thing. I reviewed this garden tool, and I don't like it because after 2 days of digging in the gravel, it's scratched. Oh, come on, it's a shovel. Of course it's going to get scratched. Don't downgrade its use in reviews because I scratched my shovel. Come on. Those are not gardeners. But I have to say, the serrations are still sharp, and I can sharpen them with a chainsaw file. It takes maintenance. It's got a nice thick edge there. You know, it will dull a little bit because of the hard use it's getting. And of course, if you have a knife edge on something you're digging, it's going to dull. But what I've noticed is it's dulling here. It never was sharp from the beginning. They did not razor sharp this thing. But it's still reasonably sharp up here. Oh, there's a stick. And keep in mind that it wasn't sharp from the factory. And digging in the dirt has not really changed the edge on this. So yes, pagan pride. I would say, let me clean up my mess. Should have threw that left-handed. That it is reasonable to have reasonable expectations that you're going to be digging in the dirt, foraging, finding food when the world comes to an end with your garden knife. And it's going to dull up here, but you can still keep it reasonably sharp down here. Interesting factoid, there is, I forget what manufacturer it is, but you have YouTube. There's a manufacturer or manufacturers of these garden knives that also include sharpening stones or sharpening whatever you call them, those like round things, like files, that are on the sheath. And so you can keep it sharp. All in all, I would have to say that I am pleased with my purchase with this ML Tools. It is showing really no signs of degradation. Believe me, this has seen some hard use so far. Can you break it? I'm sure you could. Again, you wedge it between some rocks and you stomp on the handle. You can damage anything. But yeah, this is gonna work. That's about all. I'm gonna leave it at that. Again, it's nice having a sheath, and can you imagine having like a sharpening stone somehow on this thing? But yep, this is the secret of life. This is how you know there is a higher power. Gardening with your garden knife, your hoary hoary. Have a good one. Thank you for watching. Appreciate your viewership. John signing off. It's time to begin the day. Hoary hoary.